Hello there, it's Francis here from Generational Wealth Academy. Now, basically, just to share my thoughts on the current market conditions and situation, even as affected by the coronavirus scare or the COVID-19 scare. Now, this is a trade, on gold. Obviously, when it comes to us having market jitters and there being some panic in the markets, what tends to be affected, the most is gold. Gold obviously for a long time, for decades as it were, has always been seen as a safe haven. Investors tend to pile up their gold, gold stock as it were, even piling on gold as it were, even when there is some market scare. And that's exactly what's happening here. This is the daily, so this is the 1 hour time frame. If we go even to the daily time frame, you can see here that gold has definitely been on the rise, for days. Obviously, each of these candles representing the daily time frame. At some point, even at some point, it went up, came back down. Let's just mark there. We see it went up and came back down and retested, what proved to be support, even as we see it here. It basically more or less bounced off it and it pushed back up. This big push down, obviously could not even get to the previous low. It basically just went back up. I believe the price of gold is going to go even higher from here. This is a trade, myself and members of my VIP team, basically VIP channel on Telegram basically entered, today. It's currently over, 94 pips as it were. It has been more. It got as high as about 125 or 130 pips earlier on, but it's dropping. Now, what I basically, said, and to be quite honest with you, I mean, we entered this on a demo. This is actually a demo account, because I, as a mentor, I want to be responsible. I don't want to, teach people to trade when, there is uncertainty in the market. And I am basically going to be sitting on my hands today and just observing. It's Monday. We see that, even with the market open. The market open on Sunday night, Sunday night, Monday morning, there were huge gaps in the market, excuse me, a lot of gaps in the market, almost across, various currency pairs. This is the CAD CHF, for instance. We see that there was a huge gap down of about over 115 pips. Yeah, we see that there was a gap down of over 115 pips, and it's not surprising that the Canadian dollar has been affected. Let's just have a look at other Canadian dollar pairs. Like I said, this is the card you can see at the top left hand corner here, the card CHF, and this is the euro card. So on the euro card, this was, let me bring up the period separators. Okay, this is the 1 hour time frame. You can see each of this represents a daily session. This is today's session, Monday. That was the close of trade of the market on Friday, Thursday, and so forth. So we see, from the close of the trade, close of the market on Friday, it opened up with a gap of over 230 pips. That is huge. That is huge for Eurocard. It's such a huge gap. Like we saw in the card CHF, there was a gap down. Euro card, there was a gap up. New Zealand dollar card, we saw this. This was a lot of those in my trading community were indeed, wowed by this. Some of us, obviously have seen this, and others have not. We see that there was a huge drop in the price, and then obviously swung back up. Just look at this wick. Look at the size of this wick. The wick alone is over 250 pips. You can be sure millions of dollars were wiped off. Millions of dollars were lost. by different people collectively, even because of this, this drop, and of course the wick being created. And you can see what's happened here. There was this huge drop, and then the price obviously went back, closed the gap, and has pushed up since. So this was let's bring up the period separator again. Okay, so this was obviously the close of the market on Friday. The price gapped up, it came back and filled the gap, filled this gap, filled this gap that was created, went all the way down, and obviously came back up and has pushed up. So that was definitely, there's been a ridiculous move in the prices, various currency pairs. Now, like I say, it's not surprising that Canadian dollar pairs have been affected, because whatever affects oil tends to affect the Canadian dollar. Whatever affects oil tends to affect the Canadian dollar, and we know oil is being affected. The price of oil, as a matter of fact, let's go to oil now. You can see oil. This is the 1 hour time frame. Let's go to the daily time frame. You can see there was a huge gap down, in the price of oil. As you can see at the top there, it's currently about $31 or so. That is low compared to what it was even at the beginning of this year. If we let's see this, for instance, this is let's just check the beginning of the year, January. Okay, so that is January. You can see the high, if you consider this is the 8th of January, as it were, from the highs in January right through to now, the market was at about 62 or $63, as of January this year, and just in less than 3 months, as it were, it has gone down by half. That is huge. I mean, I don't trade oil much, but obviously because of this current situation, I have decided to look closely at oil and some other assets. And you can see here, I mean, some time ago, I mean, maybe about 2-3 years ago, I used to look at oil quite closely. Not that I traded it, but I used to follow it quite closely. And I can remember it used to be in the in the 50s and 60s, but now you can see it's in the 30s, which is, and if we are not careful, let me just zoom out a bit more. If we are not careful, it could drop even more. During my live trading session with members of my subscription group earlier today, I basically did say to them that let's mark this spot. This is the 1 hour time frame again. I did say to them, even though there has been this gap, at some point the gap is going to be filled, even as we saw a while ago in New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. In oil, we see that there has been this gap. At some point, this gap is going to be filled. However, it is not for us to begin to speculate when it's going to happen, whether it's going to happen in a few hours' time or a few days' time, but just to know that yes, at some point it will be filled. Who knows? It might not be filled in weeks. It might not be filled in months. The price might begin to oscillate, as it were, within this range, which obviously we see here, where it currently is compared to where it currently is. Let's just zoom out a bit more. We can see even as it dropped here, it took out this previous low. The price dropped and took out this previous low. So who knows? Let's go to the weekly time frame. Okay, you see that's a weekly. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, let's go back to the weekly. Who knows? The price obviously is now at more or less the weekly lows, even as we can see there. It's this is basically the lows, and that is basically where the price even is at now. The lows there. Let's just extend this one. you can see that is basically where the price is. So who knows, will this previous low be taken out? That is a question we will get to know, in perhaps a couple of days or weeks to come. I personally, believe, I wouldn't want to believe it will be taken out, but that's the way it is. We just have to let price action and the current situation with COVID-19, help us in determining how to trade the current market. Now, COVID-19, you might wonder, why is oil being affected? Consider the fact that China is the second largest consumer of oil. So if things are slowed down in China, with a lot of cities, and with the quarantine in a lot of cities, and more or less thousands and millions of people being cut off, and the economy being slowed down because of the virus, you can be sure there will be less consumption of oil. I believe there will be less consumption of oil, like we already are seeing. That is why, obviously, we are having the price of oil drop. But as things begin to improve, then we will see things rise up. Like I was sharing with my guys today, during our live trading session, the way I will be looking to trade this current market is to focus on currency pairs and assets that are affected by the coronavirus, or affected by oil. This being oil, for instance, what I'll be looking to do, let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. What I will be looking to do is to wait for the price to move up slightly, and I'll be selling. I'll wait for the price to try filling the gap. I mean, definitely by the time it gets here, to fill the gap completely, I believe it will drop again. But who knows? Looking at doing some multi-time frame analysis, even if it does move up slightly, I'll be looking to sell. Whereas as with gold, since gold is gaining strength, I'll be looking to buy. Even though we have entered a trade already in gold, you can see the price has gone up even since we started. Even if the price retraces slightly, it'll be the case that I'll be looking to buy. Now, having a look at gold anyhow, you can see on the 1 hour time frame, a head and shoulder pattern is forming. I suppose this is 1 hour time frame, the 30-minute time frame, and even the 15-minute time frame. You can see a head and shoulder pattern. It is obviously clearer on some of the time frames, but that is basically what's forming. That is why I have placed my take profit here, and I could have placed it there. To actually level up with the left hand shoulder, but the way to trade in these kind of conditions is not to expect things to happen precisely as you would normally have it. I mean, those of you who follow me quite closely know that I believe in trading with precision. I have a lot of precision trading strategies which I use and teach my students, and obviously this would have been one of them. But when you have such a market situation, you don't want to follow the rules of precision strictly. As opposed to targeting here, I'm targeting some pips below, so that we'll basically take our profit there. I have since also moved my stop loss to break even, so that even if this price goes against us, or if it reverses now, we will be taking out, but yes, we will still be taking out with some profit. Never as a trader leave any money on the table when you can actually pick up something from the market. Anyhow, that's basically just a quick review on what I see in the markets for now, and hopefully we'll get more videos. If you are currently not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do so that you receive more updates whenever we get them, or whenever I come up with any videos. I do a number of videos often or regularly. You will be one of those who basically gets to know about the videos and the strategies, and even the resources that we have to offer. Even better, I would say to plug into our Telegram channel. Telegram is somewhat similar to WhatsApp. If you're not familiar with Telegram, Telegram is similar to WhatsApp, except that a lot of businesses and Forex traders obviously tend to prefer that over WhatsApp. So join our Telegram group. I'll place the link down here somewhere below this video, depending on where you are watching it. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to join us and enjoy the signals, the free signals that we do give regularly. This being March, we actually have what we call the March Forex signals blitz. So we hope to send out a lot of signals. We haven't done so even today because the market is indeed in a very volatile situation. Anyhow, see you on the other side, and stay tuned.